Hey everyone, Mr. Schnug here. Today we're going to talk about the John Adams Presidency. Okay, this is a picture of John Adams. He was president from 1797 to 1801. John Adams is a Federalist. During this time period, we're seeing the development of two political parties. John Adams leads one of them with Alexander Hamilton's help. They're known as the Federalists. Thomas Jefferson and James Madison are leaders of the other one. They are known as the Democratic Republicans. Okay? Jefferson wins the vice presidency. Back then, whoever finished second in most votes for president in the Electoral College automatically became vice president. So that was Thomas Jefferson. So John Adams is dealing with a vice president who doesn't necessarily see eye to eye with him on many issues. Okay? And you need to remember, like I said, they're both members of other political parties. All right? Presidential issues mostly dealt with foreign policy during this time period. If you remember what we talked about earlier with Washington's presidency, the Proclamation of Neutrality. Okay? George Washington issues this saying we will remain neutral with the war between France and Britain, and Britain refuses to believe that the United States could stay out of the war, and France says our negotiation and alliance from the American Revolution is still in effect. So we have Washington's Proclamation of Neutrality left over. This sort of plagues the Adams presidency. All right? As a result of a Federalist Congress and Foreign Affairs, Adams creates and passes the Alien and Sedition Acts. The Alien Acts limited political activity for foreigners, and they also tended to support the Democratic Republican views. The Sedition Acts made it illegal to publish or publicly say anything of a false nature about the government or any official. This didn't go very well for Adams. Adams was already viewed as a person who was, I guess you could say, an elitist, that he felt, the rumors were he felt he should have been king. And these are the types of actions that a king would come up with, that a king would want proposed, that you can't write negative things about them. And this played right into that stereotype, although not true, but the rumors were that he wanted to become a king, and this plays into it. Okay? These acts sort of, they don't work very well for him. The XYZ affair, we've already discussed this, at least you've seen on the YouTube video, the music video. The XYZ affair, John Adams sends 3 American diplomats to talk to the French about stopping to attack our ships. And as a result, the 3 French diplomats, which were known as XYZ, say, well, if you want to talk to us, you need to pay us money. And the American diplomats said, we're not going to do that, and they come back to America. Everybody finds out about it, and the United States is outraged, especially the Federalists. It's almost as if we're not being taken seriously. John Adams' presidency was marked by the Quasi-War. Adams builds up the U.S. Navy, and we begin to fight a naval war off the West Indies with France. Adams also asked Washington to come out of retirement and put Hamilton second in command through the fear of an invasion. Some people also believe that that was Alexander Hamilton's plan himself. That was his own plan that Adams put into place. Eventually, Adams negotiates peace with Napoleon Bonaparte. Why is the Quasi-War important? It's important because John Adams establishes the U.S. Navy, and he establishes the Naval Department. John Adams is the father of the modern Navy, which is probably the longest lasting legacy of his presidency. The election of 1800 was also known as the Revolution of 1800. It was a brutal election. Both sides were very negative with one another. And Jefferson comes out the winner due to Alexander Hamilton splitting ties with Adams. Adams wasn't very popular at the end of his presidency. So Alexander Hamilton distanced himself from him to secure his place later on when he thinks he's going to become president. Upon leaving, Adams was not gracious to Jefferson. He did not attend Jefferson's inauguration, and he passed the midnight judges, meaning last minute. The Federalist Party kept nominating and hurrying through federal judge appointments to keep control of the courts until Adams' last day in office. Jefferson spends a lot of time reviewing this when he becomes president, and it hurts the beginning part of his presidency because he's having to deal with this. Although Adams was not gracious to Jefferson, they do end up patching up their relationship and become friends later on after the presidency is over with.